What's up, guys? Meow, and I'm back with another video. And we've got ourselves an Xfinity Series race reaction to do. Pardon the lack of a t-shirt. Um, I've just been sitting like this since I got home from work. So, yeah. But anyway. So, Xfinity Series is at Watkins Glen. The Truck Series was on earlier. As I said, I was at work, so I did not get to watch that. Congrats to Austin Hill on getting his second win this season. The race had to be called early due to lightning in the area. And the playoff field is now set. Chandler Smith would be disqualified in post race due to failing ride heights, but it would not impact his playoff positioning. So he is in the playoffs. And I think once we get closer to the first race of the playoffs for the Truck Series, I will do a video predicting that. But anyway, so with the Xfinity Series today, or yeah, before we get into that, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And it's nice to get to do this again. Obviously, 2 weeks off from NASCAR. I haven't done a race reaction, like this since prior to New Hampshire a few weeks ago, which was the last race because I was at New Hampshire. But anyway, so Ryan Sieg and Jesse Little had to go to the rear for unapproved adjustments. Michael Munley, who was in the 6 car for JD Motorsports, the car that Ryan Vargas usually drives. Obviously, they put in different guys for the road courses. But Munley had to have his radio replaced, and a couple other drivers had issues from the back had issues. And then we get the drivers make it through lap 1 of the race. Obviously, no practice, no qualifying. But an incident at the back of the pack involving Ryan Sieg and David Smith happened. Race stays green, and everybody gets going again. And as far as that David Smith mentioned, when I saw the entry list, I'm like, what? The guy who drives King Crunch and Monster Jam? No, it probably isn't. But anyway, so Michael Munley, who started the race on pit road, they were having issues. He was trying to catch up to the field, and he ended up going into the wall, just trying to hustle it back to catch the field. Tough break for him. It was a hard hit too into the tire barriers. So the caution would come out there. They'd get going again. Competition caution would come out after lap 10. Kyle Tilley in the 99 car got turned on the restart coming to the line. Looks like he might have made contact with somebody, but not really sure. Munley would actually meet minimum speed. He was able to get back out there. But before that, Chris Wright would make contact with Josh Bilicki, spins, and gets going. Right spawn, that is. Some drivers would pit with 3 laps to go in the first stage. Ty Gibbs and Justin Allgaier leading them down. It was only like a few others that pitted. And Austin Cindric would take the stage 1 victory with AJ Allmendinger finishing 2nd, Daniel Hemric 3rd, Harrison Burton 4th, Jeb Burton 5th, Justin Haley 6th, Noah Gragson 7th, Brandon Jones 8th, Riley Herbst 9th, and Sam Mayer in 10th. There was reports of rain during the caution between stages, but rain really would not affect this race. Oh, and one other thing, Michael Annett would make his return. He had been off the previous couple of races due to injury and then surgery, foresight injury. But of course, him being on the bubble right now, 30 points up on Riley Herbst for that final playoff spot. With 6 races to go in the Xfinity Series season, regular season that is. He needed to come back. He came back, and there you go. So anyway, most of the field would pit during the caution between stages 1 and 2. Some would stay out either by pitting beforehand or staying out by choice. Brett Moffitt would have a crew member go over the wall too soon. Joe Graff Jr. with too many crew members over the wall. And then somebody left an axle on the track during the caution laps. That came in turn 7. That came from Alex LeBay's car. So they would add a lap before going. Daniel Hemric would do a 360-degree spin in turn 1, but immediately keeps going. And it looked like Sam Mayer got locked up tires and got into him. Gregson was behind Mayer, but no issues for them. Race obviously keeps going. Kyle Tilley's day would be done. His time expired under the damaged vehicle policy. Harrison Burton and Brandon Jones would both pit a little bit later because they did not pit before. Brandon Jones would get a speeding penalty. Alex Labay would be stopped off the track in turn 1, and the caution would come out for him. Some drivers would pit here, including Myatt Snider and Justin Haley. And then Jeb Burton and Joe Graf Jr. pit with 3 laps to go. Obviously, because I shouldn't say as mentioned before, but Graf had the penalty and all that. But AJ Allmendinger would take the stage 2 victory. Ty Gibbs second, Austin Cindric third, Justin Allgaier fourth, Noah Gragson fifth, Riley Herbst sixth, Sam Mayer in seventh, Michael Annett in eighth, Eric Jones ninth. Eric Jones is running for the 31 of Jordan Anderson, and Daniel Hemric in 10th. Most drivers would pit with Gibbs and Cindric staying out front along with a few others. Jesse Little would go through the grass at one point, I believe, through the carousel. Myatt Snider would spin, exiting the carousel, and gets it going again, so the race stays green. Matt Mills would go hard into the wall coming out of the carousel a little bit later. It looked like, or no, that was somewhere else. My apologies. I'm thinking of another wreck that came up later. But the caution would come out for Mills. Mills, LeBay, and Tilley would all be done for the day. Daniel Hemric would stay out. Pretty much everybody else pitted. Bailey Curry and Preston Pardis would also stay out here, which would make things interesting. Sam Mayer had a crew member go over the wall too soon, and Riley Herbst and Stephen Lake both got speeding penalties. Austin Dillon, a little while later, would end up going down pit road and then down the garage with what would later be reported as a broken track bar. His day would be done. Artist would go around and turn 1 off of contact with somebody. It looked like it might have been Brandon Brown, but the race would stay green. Hemric would have to pit. He needed to pit. Jeremy Clemens goes around off contact with Jeb Burton, does a full 360 and keeps going. Clemens would then later pit after the contact with Burton. Justin Haley was reported on the broadcast of having transmission issues. Allgaier was reported to possibly be having issues. Brandon Jones would pit, as does Allgaier. Chris Wright would stop in the carousel after spinning through the grass, but then gets going again. Eric Jones, driving Jordan Anderson 31 car, as mentioned before, he would get into the wall and spin into the gravel trap. Caution would come out. Jones reported that he lost his brakes, and he ended up turning into the wall and then went into the gravel trap. Not 100% sure exactly what caused him to turn into the wall, considering it's a left-hand turn. It was a left-hand turn corner with a gravel trap off to the side. So it might have been where he might have I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to allude to say that he might have turned into the wall on purpose just to stop the car's momentum before going through the gravel trap. I think it was talked about on the broadcast, but nothing was really mentioned or confirmed. So just speculative. But either way, we'll see. Several drivers would pit here. Ty Gibbs and Austin Cindric would both stay out. Among possibly others, I wasn't exactly sure. Kyle Weatherman's car would come to a complete stop on a straightaway and actually back up a little bit. But the crazy thing about this was the caution would come out, but it was still green when he was stopped. He got out of the car under green, and then the caution came out. Now, apparently, there was an electrical fire, and that's why. But even still, the fact that he got out of the car while the race was still green at the time, I mean, that was cause for a bit of concern, especially, because he's just lucky that the field wasn't coming to him. If it was, if it was coming to him, there's a possibility that he could have been ran into the back of, with his car. But even still, there's the possibility that he could have been hit, which would have been severely bad. So thank God that was not the case. And they're showing Ty Gibbs right now in victory lane here. But anyway, so they get going again for what would be the final restart of the race. And Daniel Hemric would end up spinning in turn 1, possibly involved Herbst. Race day is green. Looked like Hemric had a bunch of damage on the front of his car. 74 would go around at one point, but the race would stay green. And in a battle with AJ Allmendinger, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, the end of stage 2 was a photo finish at the line between Gibbs and Allmendinger, with Allmendinger winning the stage. But Ty Gibbs would get the last lap as he would take the W at Watkins Glen. His second road course win of the season. Obviously, he won the Daytona road course earlier this year. He's phenomenal. Like, in every single one of his runs, he seemed to. I think he's only finished outside of the top 10 maybe once so far, and I don't think that was even through a fault of his own, um, just for the fact that he might have been something damage related. But either way, it's like holy shit, dude! Like wow. So with that said, again, Ty Gibbs picking up another big victory. As mentioned before, Michael Annett, he's now barely inches above, or barely increases that gap for him on the bubble of the playoffs right now over Riley Herbst. Um, doesn't seem like there was really a ton of points movement, at least among the playoff guys. But once again, as we wind this season down, things are going to get interesting because keep in mind, obviously, we have the Indianapolis Road Course coming up next. Daytona is obviously coming up. But of course, while Daytona is the end of the regular season for the Cup guys, it's not the end of the regular season for the Xfinity guys. There's a few more races coming up after that. So shit's going to get interesting. We'll put it that way. But once again, thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. I'm going to get this uploaded. I got some diecast from Circle B Diecast that I'm going to upload reviews on. So stay tuned for that. And also make sure to use code ANJJ for free shipping on orders of $20 or more at Circle B Diecast. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.